Eil and the NOI too. How come you don't know about Drew? Ask your teacher, Master Masons, or your Sifu. How come you don't know about Drew? Go ask the Reverend, ask your fam or crew. How come you don't know about Drew? Ask the warlocks of rap, sipping evil witches brew. How come you don't know about Drew? Elijah Poole Bey is the Moorish national. Elijah Muhammad is the straw man chattel. York after Malachi is owned by the British. Zadok El is on the bureau waiting for the idiots. Mask of Gods is Nuwapian's birthright. Teach from Nuwapian Moors paper they wanna fight. Circle 7 is the universal flag. I rep that. And Clarence 13X isn't my dad. Drew Ali came first to save the mindless masses. Went from Moorish conventions to conscious classes. Went from fezzes to kufis to baseball hats. Went from Rasta to Moorish. Replace the sash. Replace the RBG banner with a Moroccan flag. Replace Ras with cheek. Blacks get toe tag. Selassie Triple Crown is a fez with no tassel. Showing temple cards as ID with no hassles. Ask the Eil and the NOI too. How come you don't know about Drew? Ask your teacher, Master Masons, or your Sifu. How come you don't know about Drew? Go ask the Reverend, ask your fam or crew. How come you don't know about Drew? Ask the warlocks of rap, sipping evil witches brew. How come you don't know about Drew? Illuminate rapper Masons, rhyming Moorish science, hip-hop renaissance, reverse Earth's global climate. Out the dark ages, many pages get burned without the chance to flip, be read or turned. No learning, blacks enslaved by the vermin. The Moors victim to Inquisition is purging. The government violating the covenant of contract. Hip-hop general Iron Sheik, no squad to bomb tracks. Moors branded like Louisville slugger bats, with a name not theirs, void ab initio contract. Most don't get it, cause they don't study the law, but they come from the galaxy behind the furthest star. To fight legal battles, they hire the bar. Who obtains leave cause you abandon your rights thus far. Told you on Iron Sheik 2, no need to represent. Just study the prophet and what he presents. Most don't stand for what he defends. Most elders over their mouth, they need the pens. Higher self ascends, lower he descends. Conscious without a nation means he pretends. She pretends, which means we pretend. Pick up abandoned birthrights and the healing begins. Build on pillars strong like 7 Nord-alleged twins. Iron Sheik 100%, most are partly skimmed. Ask the Eil and the NOI too. How come you don't know about Drew? Ask your teacher, Master Masons, or your Sifu. How come you don't know about Drew? Go ask the Reverend, ask your fam or crew. How come you don't know about Drew? Ask the warlocks of rap, sipping evil witches brew. How come you don't know about Drew? Get to something now. So I got an email from my brother, good brother, Seth and Rob Bay, on July 27th. And it was a forwarded message from a Moor by the name of Zaire Ali, subject Tarik Bay, 7/29/2014. Islam family. We have been investigating the brother Chief Nanya Shabbu Eil, and please understand this brother is working against the movement. We also found out that the brother was staying in Atlanta, Georgia, and some things went down there, and he was carried and took to Canada by the feds with no return. It is imperative that we study the counterintelligence program carried out by the FBI so that we can see how effective they were to breaking up movements that were going for liberation. COINTELPRO now would be Homeland Security. In short, this brother Nanya Shabbu Eil is definitely working with them because he's sure not working with us. So you should know how to deal and see people coming when they come at you with BS. Right? So this is the same guy who, if you go on Canaanland Moors, you will see a YouTube that we did with him 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago. And it's called Canaanland Moors Nanya Shabbu Eil, Atasika Nation, or whatever, right? What we're going to call them now, we're going to call them Oxycontin Nation, right? Because they're doing something over there that people shouldn't be done with. So, Nanya Shabbu Eil and the Oxycontin Nation.
Greetings, my name is Canaanland Eil, slave name Joyce Marie Carter, and I'm sharing this video with you today to share what a fraud and what a perpetrator and how Tarik Bay and RV Publication are misleading the masses who are really trying to get out of this matrix.
Shut the fuck up! Now read that past part again.
It has been held that there is no legal technical signification to the phrase colored persons, which the courts are bound judicially to know.
So what happens if you go into court as a colored person? Are they bound to recognize you?
No.
Are they obligated to recognize you?
Automatically what?
Why? Because there's no lawful, there's no really scientific, it's a term, it's a phrase, it's a term. It's pejorative, isn't it? Now that's law. Now, what happens if you say that to people who keep playing these Afrocentric games with our people? Won't they argue you to the ground? And start talking about that's Moorish thing and we making that stuff up? And misleading people deliberately, knowing that they are not. See, this is what these guys know. They know that the people that's following these little schools of thought don't have this information. So they can play them and take their finance, get them all in these emotional arguments and beat the hell up and stuff like that. So they can play these civil rights games and get paid in the background, looking like they're doing something for the people, the struggle. And it all appears legitimate on the surface, doesn't it? Until you study and find out that this is a social engineering mind control game and they've been part of it. You can see why they're upset with us and why the Southern Christian Poverty Law Firm sicked these shills on us.
I received my documents back today that I returned to them, and they were not signed for any mail. They refused, and as you can see, everything was authentically sent through the postal services.
Shut the fuck up!
Red flag.
And the fees that I paid, and they do not accept any mail, and you cannot contact them for any information after they receive your monies.
Shut the fuck up!
Red flag.
And I just wanted to put them on blast to let them know that we're aware, and thank you to Chief Nanya for bringing it to our attention, because we really thought we were on the right path until I heard this brother. And after I tuned in to the webinar with Chief Nanya, God bless him, he opened the eyes and let us know that we were dealing with some fraud.
Shut the fuck up!
Red flag.
Who is Nanya Shabbu Eil, aka Sean Henry? That's SeanHenry. So that's his name or whatever, right? Sean Henry. Sean Henry was born in Edmonton and moved to Toronto at the age of 17 years. From there, Sean became involved in a cult-like organization and lived illegally in the United States for 10 years until returning home to Canada as a brainwashed drone. This is information that's out there. Sean was a member of this cult for 10 years until the cult leader was jailed in 2004 for child molestation. You already know who that is. The cult members were removed from their compound and Sean was left to fend for himself with no education or work history. Sean is still under the influence of the cult and proclaims that he has godlike powers. As such, he feels he is not human as well as exempt from the laws of our country. Since being deported to Canada by U.S. immigration officials, Sean has been a nuisance to family and former friends and a financial burden to his own mother. Sean feels he is exempt from paying child support and has never paid a cent to support his teenage daughter. Instead of working, Sean spends his days emailing, faxing, and sending packages filled with meaningless gibberish to people who couldn't care less about his delusional existence. Sean feels that he has an audience in the Prime Minister, Queen, Pope, CSIS, International Criminal Court, and others. Sean has been declared a vexatious litigant by the Court of Queen's Bench of Alberta for the relentless harassment of his uncle, and he has also faced a criminal trial for mischief. A peace bond, which was supposed to prevent Sean from posting libelous and slanderous material on the web, has had no effect on his behavior. Sean was diagnosed by a forensic psychiatrist as being seriously mentally ill, yet our healthcare and legal system released Sean on a promise to take medication. My guess is that he's not taking that medication. What do you think? Right? So that's just somebody out there, right, who knows this joker. Sean Henry, aka Nanya Shabbu Eil. But not only him, right? Because remember, right, there's court documents to prove what we're talking about is legit. Okay? There's court documents to prove. Okay? And we're not worried about no, what jurisdiction of court and all that stuff, because they don't care what jurisdiction of court. How do we know that they don't care what jurisdiction of court? Because when Nanya Shabbu Eil got kidnapped a little while ago, who you think his wife or whatever called to come help him get out? It's Cujo that they call to get information, to get writs, to help him to get out. Right? And let's just update some information now. Right? When we were dealing with this individual and we realized that he's an agent, right? We didn't understand the vastness of his agentness, right? We thought that it was Nuapians that kicked him out because of him doing stuff. We didn't know that it was the feds that actually kicked him out. So when this thing comes up now, right, with him slandering the MSTA and Taj and all this stuff, 2 years later from stuff that we already dealt with him, that he's bringing up stuff from 2 years ago, right? It brought me to that phone call that I got, right? And it woke me up to the fact that they've been playing the whole time. The whole purpose of their position was to try to destabilize the Moorish movement, the legitimate Moorish movement in Canaanland, because the first time this ever been out here. I began to realize the importance of her making that call to me, right? Because between the lecture that we did with Nanya Shabbu Eil and her calling me, we had no conversation. There was literally beef between Nanya Shabbu Eil at Oxycontin Nation, right, and Canaanland Moors because of the scattering that this individual caused amongst our ranks by presenting this fraud of information, this color of truth, right? And then the other half of it made us realize how much people weren't studying. Because if you're going to listen to this clown tell you about some constitution suspended and we're a fraud, and you're going to listen to him, right? And then we told y'all, well, whatever, that guy's an agent, but they don't want to listen to that. They want to go call him, side with him. They want to meet with him, do Skype classes with him and all this type of stuff, right? Continuing with the same rhetoric that he got, that, we're a fraud. And, so when you saw all that stuff going on Facebook a few months ago, right, that was undertone with Nanya Shabbu Eil. All these Moors that came out, all of a sudden they hate Canaanland Moors, even though we helped them get their children back and from children's services and all those type of stuff, right? Even though they come crying their eyes out, groveling about their children got taken, and we assisted them, they're going to turn their back because they're listening to some dirty Moor, right? Using their brainwashed Jedi mind tricks, MK Ultra, whatever. Because remember, that's an agent. So when I got that call from his wife, right, asking for help, flags were already up, because why y'all calling, of all the people y'all know, y'all calling Cujo about how to get him out or whatever? We had this conversation, and it's like going back now, right? I can see how it was a fishing for information for those people. When we realize people are agents, dirty, whatever, we distance ourselves from those people, right? So once we distance ourselves from them, we're not expecting them to come up again. You know what I mean? Because we sever ties. We don't do the don't burn bridges. You know what I mean? If bridges have to burn, we're a burn bridge, because certain people we don't want crossing over and coming back over here, right? And when we say dirty Moors, recognize, like we said in the beginning, this is somebody who the feds picked up in Atlanta, Georgia, and brought him to Canada, deported him, right? We're talking about it because we're MSTLV, and we already dealt with these punks already, and they're coming back up again. All right, they're just gonna read this thing and they're gonna go, wow, I can't believe Taj and MSTA and Great Seal and what did that. Wow, oh my gosh, how come they're not replying to this? Why is it that they are just letting this stay here? Because there's so much fraud going on with these clowns, right? There's so much fraud going on with these clowns that it is important that we show people, so people know. Stop playing around with the sovereign Indian crap. Stop playing around with the tribal BS. There's no salvation there. It is bait to get you under the jurisdiction of the democracy. It is bait.
And I'm going to let everyone know that I know that are dealing with them, that they're wasting their time and their money. And they need to get with Chief Nanya and fill out that SF-181 and get on the right track.
Shut the fuck up!
Red flag.
type in legal dictionary, type in the word minority, and then see, it's an adult that thinks like a child.
This unpublished United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit Court, number 065197, United States of America, plaintiff Nanya Shabbu Eil, aka Sean Wesley Henry, defendant. Right? We have outline of what's going on. So let's just see what's going on, how he even got to Canada in the first place if he's from Atlanta or whatever, right? So a jury convicted Nanya Shabbu Eil on 2 charges under Title 18 United States Code Section 915 for falsely claiming diplomatic immunity and attempting to obtain something of value by doing so. He appeals the district court's denial of his Rule 29 motion for judgment, right? Remember, Moors don't do motions, Moors do affidavits, right? So how is he talking about he's qualified and he's the whatever when he's filing motions? And then when it gets denied, talking about they're practicing color of law. When he's practicing color of law by being a Moor and you're filing a motion, this is how much fraud these guys are running. That people aren't opening their eyes to recognize immediately who the frauds are. Because if once you study Noble Drew Ali, it becomes so obvious who these frauds are. Because all the frauds have the same speech. All the frauds have the same mode of operation. 1, they don't mention Noble Drew Ali, and 2, they don't talk about nationality and birthrights. They talk about some filing or something you gotta do, right? He appeals the district court's denial of his Rule 29 motion for judgment of acquittal made at the close of the government's evidence and renewed at the close of his defense case. On May 22, 2006, Nanya and 2 others falsely represented to authorities that they were diplomats. Nanya Eil first made this representation at the main office of the United States Department of State in Washington, D.C. Nanya told the security guard on duty he was a diplomat, showed the guard what purported to be a United Nations identification card. Hold on a second. So you're a Moor. You're Aboriginal and indigenous to the land. But you're a diplomat sanctioned by the United Nations? You mean you don't have a nationality card? How come you don't have a nationality card? And why are you going to some UN to get them to validate your identity if you're saying that you're a Moor? Right? Again, this is the type of fraud that these guys do, right? Claiming that they have some authority of something when that's no different than this Anthony Silver guy have a license. But he's saying he's a Moor, but he's making claims against somebody, but he's going to the notary and signing, and without reserving his rights on that contract that he used a license. And these are the guys that people are following, right? And we're putting these guys on the wall so you guys can see them bloody and recognize that it's not about being in that situation. It's not about being classified as dirty Moor around Cujo, because he stones dirty Moors to death, right? And we'll go and we'll hunt. We'll go and we'll hunt down their dirt, and we'll find their dirt, and we'll put it out there. Because their purpose is to get people's attention away from what Noble Drew Ali presented to them, right? Don't listen to what Cujo's saying. Go study what Noble Drew Ali brought you. Because what Noble Drew Ali brought you could save a nation. And you're supposed to take it and save yourself, not listening to these asses.